Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the 1111 Matrix Code Revealed. As always, I'm your host, Garrett King. You know, it's been a few weeks since I've put out a video on this 1111 Matrix Code, and as you know, I have been researching the Bible and just trying to find different connections, how this code, applies to the Bible, just what can be found within the Bible that shows that these numbers are all connected and part of this system. Now, as I've mentioned this many times, and I mentioned it in the video that I did for the announcement that some changes were going to be coming to the YouTube channel, and I made the statement that I am not in control of this code. I don't know when the information is going to show up. I don't know where the information is going to show up from, and I don't know how it's going to show up. So it's weird, and it's just been that way this whole entire process, the way that it happens. It just shows up when it decides to do so. And 2 days ago, this is Friday, the 22nd of July, 2022. So 2 days ago, on the 20th, Micah Dank sent me a Instagram DM with a large group of numbers, and he wanted to see if I could find some sort of pattern in it. Now, in the beginning, I thought he was testing me, that this was some sort of test, but as it turns out, that's not what he was doing. He just wanted to see if there was, in fact, some sort of pattern in these numbers, if I could find something that he wasn't seeing himself. As it turns out, I did find some stuff, and there is a connection with these numbers to 1111 and 333. So let's go ahead and start with this right here. So these are the numbers that he sent me, and I had absolutely no idea what these numbers were. I saw them. I was like, okay, interesting, and then of course I look at this last number, 603,550. And I thought it was a little odd, because it's the largest number of all of these numbers. So being the analytical mind that I am now, I sat down and started crunching out these numbers, reducing them down, doing all sorts of things to see if I could find connections. Well, I'm going to walk you through the process of what I did and what I found. So, again, with this first number being 603,550 being the largest number, when I was just going through and crunching these numbers, I took that number and I set it aside for a moment because it was the only one that large. And what I did is I looked at the other numbers. Okay, so these here that I've highlighted. And I noticed the total is 557,050. So just being curious, I took this last number, 603,550, and subtracted this number here, 557050. And that gave me 46,500. So I replied back to Micah and I said, I could be wrong, but there appears to be a number missing. And I believe that number is 46,500. Because if you include that number with all of the other numbers that you sent, minus the last number, the large number, all those numbers combined will actually total the last number. Okay? So let me go ahead and type this in here. right. And I don't know why it's so small. Let's see what the font size is. So it's 16. Okay. Sorry. This will take me just a moment here. Okay. And it does not need to be bold. Okay. So I added that number to the top, and then I looked at the numbers again. So if you look at all these numbers, you can see they total 603,550. So Micah replies back and he says, okay, well, just, let me know what else you find. And then he made the comment that that these numbers are, biblical. And I thought, okay, is that code for something? Because again, I thought he was testing me, that this was some sort of test. And so with him saying that, what do? I pull out this old Bible that I have that belonged to my great grandparents. And I go to the 4th book of Moses, which is called Numbers. I did that because Micah sent me numbers, and then he makes the comment that these numbers are biblical. So again, with my thinking that he's testing me, I thought these were clues that he was giving me. And again, it turns out that that's not what he was doing. He was just wanting to find out for himself if there was some sort of something hidden, some kind of hidden meaning with these numbers. It turns out that there is. So in my copy of the Bible, there's like this little blurb at the beginning of each book that kind of gives you a rundown of what you're going to be reading. And so right here at the beginning of Numbers, it says that the book of Numbers reports 2 numberings of the people as recorded near the beginning and near the end of the book. These numbers were military censuses taken of all males 20 years old and upward, for the purpose of ascertaining the military strength of the various tribes of the nation. Then it goes on to say that the total number included in the first census was 603,550. That number right here. So I knew I was on the right path. So as I go through and I start reading, I get to chapter 1, verse 21. And it states, and you can pull out your Bible and read this for yourself. It states that those that were numbered of them, even in the tribe of Reuben, were 46,500. Okay? Think about that. 46,500. Well, that's the number right here at the top that was missing. 46,500. All right. Now, here's just kind of odd, and I don't want to say coincidences, but I don't know. It's not a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence at all. I don't think any of this is a coincidence, but this is an odd connection. So they were looking for males 20 years old and upward. Now, Micah sent me these numbers on the 20th. Not that crazy of a, connection, but still interesting enough. But what I did find interesting is that this first number, the one that was missing, was from chapter 1, verse 21. 121. Well, 121 is the equivalent of 11 times 11. 121. And that is the verse where we get the first number. Okay? So already a 11-11 connection. Now, this was all the numbers from the first census. There was a second census that was done 38 years later. And here at the beginning of Numbers in my copy of the Bible, it does say that 38 years later, the census total was 601,730. So going through, these are all of the numbers, with 601,730 being the total of this number all the way to this number. So as you can see down here, 601,730. That's the total. Now, this number here, 23,000. What is this? Well, if we go to chapter 26, which is where the census of Israel is ordered, this is the second census, and then we go to verse 62, it states that, and those that were numbered of them were 23,000. Okay? 23,000. All males from a month old and upward. Now, I thought that was interesting because why are we being told about males that are a month old when they are supposed to be searching for males that are 20 years old and above? Now, it does state that those 23,000 were not numbered, okay? But I think there's a clue here. Now, they weren't numbered. It does state that. Let's go back here. So it says, for they were not numbered among the children Israel, because there was no inheritance given them among the children of Israel. Okay? But why are we being told about them? That's what doesn't make sense. They're looking for males 20 years of age and older, but whoever felt the need to tell us about these 23,000 males that are a month old and above. So to me, that was a vital clue. We're being told that number for a reason. So I think the number should remain. But there's something else. In chapter 26, where the second census has taken place, in verse 10, it states, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up together. When that company died, what time the fire devoured 250 men, and they became a sign. Okay, so 250 men died, which means we should subtract 250. Okay? So, this was the process. What I did was I took all of the numbers of the first census that made up the total, including the total. Okay? So we're going to include the total in this calculation. So, what we get is this number, 1,207,100. Now, just very quickly, I want to point out that 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 7 is 10, and add 1, we get 11. Okay? Now, if we come over to this one and do the exact same thing, we get 1,226,460. But remember, we have to subtract 250 because they died in a fire. So what we're going to do is take this number minus this number, and the new number that we get is 1,226,210. Now, watch what's going to happen. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to just simply add these two cells together. Look very closely at this new number that we get. and look at the middle 3 digits that show up. 3, 3, 3. Now, I've talked about this many times before, that when I would see these numbers, I would either see it on the clock. Sometimes it would be, on receipts. Sometimes I would be driving down the highway and these numbers would show up like on a truck or something right in the middle of a grouping of other numbers. So just like we're seeing here, we have 2, 4, 3, 3, 3, 1, 0. So that really stood out to me. Now, as we've already seen, we can achieve this number by simply taking these two numbers and adding them together. And there's going to be millions of possibilities of achieving this number here, this 2433310 number. But there's one in particular that really stands out to me. And that is taking 11 times 11 times 20110. Okay? So let's just go ahead and do the math here. Move this out of the way. So we're going to take this cell times, whoops, I think I did that wrong, times this cell times this cell. And as you can see, we get 2433310. But what do we have here? 11, 11. I mean, it's things like this that show how intricately hidden and encoded these numbers are. It's incredible. Now, let's move this down. So when you take that number, 2433310, and you apply the formula of the 1111 matrix code of taking the last 4 digits, which in this case is going to be 3310, and you add the remaining, which is going to be 243. Let's move that out of the way. So we're going to add those two cells together, and we get this number here, 3553. Stands out because, as we've seen many times before, it's a palindrome. It's the same forwards and backwards. 3553, 3553. So forwards and backwards, same number. So what do I do? But of course, I take it to Gematria and see what I can find with this particular number. So what are the chances that, as we've seen through this entire 1111 matrix code, that so many references to this reality that we live within being a simulation, a false reality, okay? So again, you have to stop and think, what are the chances that that number would be the value of this phrase? We are immortal souls with amnesia in a simulation. Okay? Makes perfect sense. So let's just go ahead and copy that phrase. So here's Gematria Nader. I have it set to the Jewish cipher. Paste it in, and as you can instantly see, 3553. I mean, this is just, it's nuts the way that this code works. And it's just incredible how intricately encoded this information is. It's just so deeply embedded that, again, I mean, thank God, we are starting to find these connections like this, but it's been hidden right in front of our faces for a very long time. This information. It's just truly, truly incredible. And again, Micah was not testing me. He was just wanting to see if there was a pattern, something going on with these numbers. Now, one other thing that I pointed out to Micah that was very strange to me is that if this was a census, why are all of the numbers ending in 0? Like if you were counting the heads of people, like this first number, why do we not have the number being 46,523 or, 46,559? It's always ending in a 0. I thought that was really, really weird. And there's some bug outside making a buzzing sound. I can hear it. It's probably a cicada or something like that. So, but anyway, when I mentioned that to Micah, Micah said, to me, or replied back to me, he says, yes, I agree, but I think they rounded up. And I get it, but at the same time, I don't know that I buy that as being the answer. Because again, if you were trying to encode information and you were using numbers to achieve a specific set of an outcome, you would need those numbers to be precise. So I think these numbers were put in this particular fashion on purpose. Not that they were rounding up. These numbers needed to be this way in order to get these specific numbers, these outcomes, just like so. And again, the 1111 connections, the very first number showing up in chapter 1, verse 21, 121, the equivalent of 11 times 11. The first total reducing to 11 from the first census. The second census taking place 38 years later. 3 and 8 is 11. We are chasing that number 11 all over the place. And then the hidden clue is to subtract 250 because these people died. And of course, the other hidden part of it was the 23,000 males that weren't numbered, but were told about it. Why? Why? Because it has to be there. It has to be there in order to achieve this number. And then again, 333 rears its head. It shows up. And the simple fact that we can take 11 times 11 times 20,110 to achieve the same number. Now, this is kind of interesting, and I don't know how I feel about it, but it's just a thought. They were told to count the heads of every male 20 years of age or older, one by one. And is that a clue given to us right here? We have 20, the age, and 1. So 20, everyone 20 years of age or older, count them one by one. I don't know. That could be a little cheese ball, I don't know. But you have to. You have to stop and question, is that a clue? Is it a clue? Because look at the other clues. We have to subtract the 250. And then simply this number and this result through Gematria. We are immortal souls. We are immortal souls. But we have amnesia. We can't remember our past. And we are in a simulation. Now, could it be that because we are in this simulation, that is the reason that we have amnesia? Very possible. Who knows? Was it not Morpheus in the Matrix that said it's a prison, that the simulation, the Matrix, is a prison for your mind? So, yeah. That's really all I have. I just wanted to kind of show you guys how this whole thing has, how the whole thing basically works. I mean, like I said, I have no control over where the information's coming from, how it's going to show up, when it's going to show up. It just does it when it chooses to do it, itself. Now, there is going to be, and I've been doing a lot of research. I have a lot of stuff to show you guys, but I'm still verifying the information that I'm finding and making sure that it's accurate, because I don't want to put anything out that, that I find any holes in, or, any sort of discrepancies or anything like that. I want to make sure that, I'm doing my due diligence and really doing the research to find that these numbers and what I'm finding is correct. And I have a lot to show you guys, a lot coming up. But I'll start releasing that information when I'm really 100% sure of what I'm finding. But I just wanted to do a quick little video and demonstrate, basically that's what this is. It's a demonstration for you guys of how these numbers present themselves to me and the methods, in which they show up. Micah was completely floored that I was able to, to find this information and break it down in this way. So it's just incredible. It's just incredible. And it does show, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again many more times in the future, that this code is deeply embedded in our lives in every single way. Every single way. So, all right, folks, that's all for now. So until next time, I hope everyone takes care, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.